Hey everyone, it is October 13th, 2019, and welcome to another Brooklyn Baritone podcast. Hey everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whatever time that you catch yourself listening to this. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. We have all differences. We all have similarities. We have so much things that we have or a common goal, basically. Every person really wants to provide for themselves, provide for their family, and make the most of their life. I noticed that there's, of course, a lot of media out there, a lot of distractions, a lot of divisiveness, a lot of factors out there that cause us to not really focus and hone in on our true capabilities of really becoming who we are. I try to set out to do this podcast. This is what I do. This is what I do when I talk. Whatever I put out there is supposed to be positive, because if we all had it all together, then we wouldn't have a need for motivational people or classes or ways and courses and things of that nature to help build us up, to help us balance our checkbook properly, to help us find out what's inside of us, to help us try to fix what's wrong. And the problem is that we usually are distracted with chasing the carrot, going after the money, or looking after a specific kind of route or status that we feel is the picture of success in this culture, the socioeconomic mindset and structure that we have. It does throw us off because there are so many key things that we do not learn, especially coming up in school, I guess around adolescence, because usually, as I've pointed out before, when we're younger, we always teach children or are taught to be nice, to be fair, to be kind. And then it's almost like a culture shock. I talked about it in the past before. I call it emotional PTSD, I believe, because it's a shock where you see how people actually move in the world, callous, very heartless. People backstab, people walk over you, people are rough with you, rather than it's like, okay, it should be exactly how we're taught we're a child. It should carry through as we're adults, because people will say that business is about being a grown and adult. The being grown and adult shouldn't have to entail drinking. Liquor's bad for you. Yeah, I'm going to say it. Smoking's bad for you. A lot of sex all over the place is bad for you. Having a loose mouth, you could be cuss words is one thing, and then you utilize your words to destroy others. That's another thing. There's so much factors out there that divide us. And I didn't want to be like another type of media outlet that just showed goofy stuff, funny stuff, things that pretty much, a good waste of time. But at the same time, I didn't want to just blend myself in with, any and everyone else. What makes me stand out more is just because it's me. Same way, even though they are famous, you have to have that mindset about yourself that you want to get up there. Like Dwayne Johnson, used him in the past before. He tuned into himself. You could think of people who are not as famous, who you are drawn to personally, because chances are they could be very tuned into themselves. Either A, they know how to really fake it, but if they're really genuine about building themselves, or at least they have a good idea of what they are and their standards and what they will accept for themselves and others and things around them, the pure form of them will come out. You will resonate. This is everything that I talk about. Everything is related. And everything is easily relatable to anyone who listens to this or who even tries to listen and apply to what I'm saying and things similar to what I'm saying, is because we are based in a world of order. Everything that we exist in and around is based on a specific order. I'm never going to be shy about talking about where that order comes from. It comes from, people call it the Most High. People call this entity God. Elohim is one of the more preferred terms used for our Creator. Our Creator is all about order. Our Creator is all about love. These things are etched in us. That's why majority of us have an idea of what should be acceptable behavior and what shouldn't be. There are things that we tend to want to bend the rules a bit or kind of go out on our own path. But most of us, usually all people, know what is the limits, the limitations we should go as far as certain behavior, certain things we should do and shouldn't do, things we know that are bad habits, things that are just unacceptable behavior, things that are acceptable things. The key thing is building yourself. Before that, you have to know where you come from. I always will talk about know where you come from. I don't want to say just go off of what's the traditional idea of what church or religion is. I'm not talking about that. That's all man-made stuff, and it's been twisted. The thing I'm talking about is having a relationship from where you come from. Once you properly understand your Creator, you will understand your position with Him and your position with yourself, and then, of course, in turn, with everything and everyone around you. Everything has its place. I always use the analogy of a car. You could use rubbing alcohol if you want to. You could put moonshine in the gas tank if you want to. It may turn over when you turn the ignition. You may be able to go down the block. You might be able to go 5-10 miles. But you keep up going down the path of not utilizing what is meant for that car to operate properly. It's going to break down in any given amount of time. It's not if it's going to break down, it's just when it's going to break down. Now, when you follow the proper maintenance schedule that the manufacturer set for it, use the proper fluids, care for it the proper way, change the tires, rotate it, all that stuff, your car is going to last a very long time. There's some people who have a vehicle for 20, 30, 40 years. There are people out there who have their vehicle that long because they care for it the way it's meant to. So that in turn is supposed to apply to us. Thing is, we go off with, religions, other mindsets with like, it sounds good. We can get some good things from certain things, but at the same time, it's not directly from our manufacturer. He put in us something to build. Basically, you could say it's a ball of clay. We all get our own ball of clay. It could be any color you want, whatever it is. It's your job to understand that this has been given to you, and you have to take time to mold it. Whatever it is that you know that you're good at, whatever it is that you know that you need to fulfill in your life. Everyone is different. We all have the same needs, basic needs, but then we all can go about it a different way to expand on ourselves and then utilize that internal gift, that treasure that's in us, to now help others. Yes, of course it'll help you. I'm not saying you're going to get $1 million or $1 billion from doing it. It's possible. It can be parallel to that with our culture or how we move with money. But proper success is when you're very fulfilled. Not getting a lot of riches, not getting a lot of fame, or getting a whole lot of status or any of that stuff. Being fulfilled is like actually knowing your worth, putting in the work that you see needs to be done. And it's not just benefiting you, it's benefiting other people. When you're able to help people, there's nothing that compares to that at all. Many times, especially in this city, we pass by a lot of homeless people, a lot of people who are not as well off as a lot of other people. A lot of us are kind of working poor. A lot of us are just working just to keep our head above water, but there's people who are below that. They need a little bit more. We would see them walk up to the car if we're driving. We see them on the street. Many people pass them by. If we're able to get to a point where all of us understand our worth and understand everyone else's worth, that issue would eradicate itself. There wouldn't be anyone homeless. There wouldn't be anyone sick. There would be no war against the genders. There will be no war against left wing, right wing. There will be no war against black or white or cops and civilians. We wouldn't have need for hospitals. If we totally tuned into exactly what we need and where we come from, we have no issues. My thing when I talk about this every week is showing little spotlights, little examples. I talk about statistics. I talk about my path, what I've gone through, because things I'm still going through myself. I'm still going through many growing processes. Every day is opportunity to grow. Our job is to grow ourselves, get ourselves to the point where we can now be on a level where we can hopefully help other people too, by even just our mere presence. If we have the financial capacity to help people, beautiful. Help people when you can. If you have the time that you allot yourself to say, let me help this person or help this family or give my time to a food pantry or a soup kitchen or whatever the case is. You know, it doesn't have to be those specific things, but those are the things that mainly people are needed for their man hours, their availability, their resources, whatever it is. There's other ways you can help people as well, like really help people to be the best they possibly can. Don't help people to try and scheme their way around stuff. That's not really helping anyone. You're getting a leg up for a very temporary cause, but that's not really helping more people or you in the long run. You know, I understand that's how it has to move. It's how people have to move sometimes in this culture. Am I saying it's right? No, it's not right to do that. And it's also not right to have people to be in that position in the first place. If we all had the proper value ahead of money, ahead of material things, nice houses, even though I do believe we all should have a nice place we're definitely comfortable in and we could be proud of and have our space for ourselves and our family to grow properly, yes, we all need that. But it would be great if everyone was able to attain that. And again, it all starts with knowing where you come from. Once you know where you come from, you will now know your standards and your value and your potential that's in you. So everything will fall in place, at least for you, because the most you can do is control yourself and everything in your immediate vicinity. You may not be able to change a company or organization's culture that could be toxic. You may not be able to individually change a government or change a community. Or can you? Many people were catalysts of change. You may not have been the one that's in the headlines, but I'm pretty sure someone whispered or talked or taught someone like Martin Luther King. Okay? There's many people who sat there and talked to people who are influencers. Could be negative, but I'm very sure there's very positive people too. You got to play your part. You have no idea how your positive growth and your presence will help people. Once you get yourself down, the goal is to help other people. You have the mindset now you want to pick a mate. You want to pick a mate, pick a spouse, because now you have standards and you resonate those standards and you resonate that talent that's in you, because that's going to help build you as well and help other people around you as well. This is what this is about. So now when you do meet up with someone, you can see they're on the level that I expect a mate to be or a spouse to be. So then we could join with the proper foundations. We could join with the proper things we've learned, experiences, and go forward. And now when we actually procreate, our children have the best of both worlds, of both mother and father, lifting up that child properly from jump. Not the route that we've been going now, because we could see all the issues we have. And the thing is, we look to blame so much other things except for looking at ourselves. We have to look at ourselves at what we accept. You have to accept that there's some things that you did wrong. I accept there's things that I did wrong. There's things that I used to beat myself up a lot. It's going to happen. But it's a necessary step. It's very necessary to look at yourself first, to take stock of what you've done, to what you are about, to take stock of the potential you have. Don't ever think it's too late to start doing something properly, or to even know that you had something inside of you, that ball of clay that I was talking about earlier. You have to take time to mold it. You have to take time to mold that clay. We have video games. We got movies. Everybody's seen the Avengers. I saw them. We got music. We got the jobs we got to go to. We have bills. All these things are distractions. Very tactical distractions. It takes away from our ability to take that clay every day and mold it. Mold it into something useful. You have to work on yourself every day. And if you're not actually making something tangible, at least plan it out. Sit there and think. Sometimes you have to be quiet. There's so much noise around us. You have to take time to be quiet. This is what the Creator says. You have to take time to be quiet. Meditate on His word, on Him, and even on yourself. You have to tune things out. We got a lot of noise going on. I have a lot of things around me too, but I do take time to think. I'm always thinking. I'm always putting stuff down of what I got to do, way to budget certain things, ideas of what I want to talk about my brand, about the podcast to share with everyone, ideas outside of the podcast, things to do at home, things to do at work. You always have to be thinking and be productive. Everyone has their thing. You may not emulate the same thing that guy has because he has something else in him. His ball of clay starts off as a round ball, but he got something else he's working on. You got to figure it out. Know what you're good at. Ask other people to gauge you properly. I guarantee you it's one step at a time. Because many people, they throw their hands up in the air. We're basically in a very disposable society because we're so quick and used to having things when we want it, how we want it. We don't have the proper respect of the process from the raw materials to get the finished product now. I'm kind of like that sometimes, but I catch myself. I'm like, let me just chill and wait. Sometimes I order something, like it takes a whole month. Remember, there's a time in the history where, you're lucky if you got it in 2 months, whatever it was you ordered. So we are spoiled. And that kind of living and mentality, it does take away from the value of just about everything that is around us and is us. So now we have to rush and rush and rush. We have this rush mentality now, and that is a distraction from ourselves. We have to mold ourselves. So by the time we're at least teenage years, we are more than competent to handle funds, to handle tasks, where it's dealing with other people's resources. We are more than capable of handling ourselves where our parents don't have to worry about us. So now when we're getting our 20s and 30s and 40s, by the time you choose to marry, you can meet someone else who had that same kind of elevation, that strong foundation. So now you're not gonna have anyone who's broken or who decided to start having sex at an early age, or someone who has kids, or someone who just decides to just get everything handed to them, or someone who spent a lot of their time on the corner with Craig and them, or just playing games all the time, not developing yourself. So now you both can be much more complete individuals than what our usual standard is now. Well, we like the people. We see the good things, but then there's a lot of bad things that to spoil the whole plate. We want to present ourselves to the world, to our future mate, our spouse, and even ourselves when we look ourselves in a mirror, and even when we're left alone to our own thoughts and feelings. We want to at least have positive feelings and vibes and energy to say, if I need to improve on something, I'm going to improve it. Or I'm eager to go forward to the next day to do more with myself, to build myself. There's something out there that I know that I'm going to learn. There's something that's in me that I want to put out there. We have to get to that level. We can't just start pointing fingers at the government or this group over here or that one over there. We have to all look at ourselves and understand how far we came from the manufacturer's instructions. Once we get there, we could bring it back, start to tune out the noise, and start to understand a lot of things we do is actually toxic to us. And then we become toxic people. You have to start the purge, not the movie to go outside and start, killing people, not that purge. Purge all the bad things. As they say in the army, hunt for the good things. They're out there. It's still out there. The good things are still out there. The good things are still in it. No matter where you at, Even if you're at your rope's end and you feel you just want to end it all, don't. You're too valuable. Just take some time and try to anchor onto something. If it's not inside of you, get help. There's a lot of things that we cannot do on our own. We're all supposed to be communal people, beings. Help each other. This is just always a step that I want people to take to help each other. The problems that men and women have with each other, we just have to take stock with ourselves. I will try my best to put all types of information and guidance out there to help people build themselves. I'm in this too. I'm in it too. I'm not living in a high white castle above the clouds or anything. I'm in this mess too. But I understand what's needed. I understand where I went wrong and where other people usually go wrong. I'm here to help and share and grow at the same time. So that's basically it. I guess it was more of a rant than like your regular podcast and anything, but it's all about growth, and you grow every day. And you can't grow if your mind is too closed or if you're busy being distracted, even divided, because that is one of the best, most slickest, most coldest tactics that anybody has devised against an enemy, an opponent, or a set of peoples is divisiveness. That thing just causes so much damage. And then we are so distracted by what the divisiveness has caused. It's like a never-ending cycle. We got to break that cycle. Get back to the Creator, man. Get back to your proper way of living in life, no matter who you are. If you don't like church, it's okay. I'm not talking about church. I'm talking about finding who the Creator is. And believe me, things will be different once you actually uncover things for yourself. Anyways, that's all I got. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I didn't turn anybody off. I hope I turn people on to it. Make sure that you catch my YouTube channel, Brooklyn Baritone, where I upload all the podcast videos and other media. Of course, check out my main website, brooklynbaritone.com. I am also on Instagram and Facebook. You can catch me also on the Google Play Store and the iTunes Store. You'll hear from me next week. Everyone, walk good, stay blessed. I love you all.